Hello world. So just last week, Behringer announced yet another eurorack module that they have released. This time, Mutable Instruments Tides. So Tides can act as an envelope generator, an LFO, and even a VCO. So this sees the current trend that we have from Behringer at the moment of releasing Mutable Instruments clones. I think we've already had marbles. We've had the plates clone, we've had the desktop version of Platts as well, we've had an ears clone, and I think there's another one, I can't remember what. I'm not going to get too much into the features of Tides in this video, because there are plenty of videos out there that already discuss Tides and what it can do. And also there's a really great video from Behringer that they've released alongside the announcement of their new Waves module, which goes through all the features, and if you want to check that out, it's in the description there. Of course, if you enjoy this video, please hit like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That really helps me out. I've just very recently hit 1,000 subscribers, so thank you very much to everyone who has subscribed recently. But of course, as ever, there's still a lot of you out there watching these videos that are not subscribed, so please do hit that subscribe button. So what I do want to talk about in this video, though, is my thoughts on this release and the whole sort of clone situation that we have with Mutable Instruments. Now, I will say that I own a number of clones of various Mutable Instruments modules myself. Rings, Platts, clouds, marbles, and in fact, of course, Tides as well. They're all clones that I have, and the main reason that I bought those was because they were smaller modules, and I thought I could fit more modules into my small case when I first started out. But there are an awful lot of clones out there of Mutable Instruments, which is a good thing, because it offers a lot of choice when it comes to purchasing these modules. And of course, Mutable Instruments are no longer in production, and if it wasn't for all of these clones out there, we wouldn't be able to buy the modules anymore. So it is great to have all these clones out there. The question that I have to ask, though, is do we really need another Tides clone? Now, I'm not sure how much Behringer are going to be charging for this. I think possibly in the region of maybe 130 to 150 pounds. Not sure what that is in dollars if you're in America. So that is quite cheap. I think, I'm trying to remember, I think that when I bought Tides, that version that I have, I think that was over £200, maybe something like £240. So it's considerably cheaper than some of the clones that are out there. Now, obviously those clones are, for the most part, they are made by much smaller companies that probably can't afford to produce them for a much cheaper cost than that. So there are questions there around the sort of the morality of it and what Behringer are doing, and every time Behringer bring out a clone of something that is much cheaper than the original, or much cheaper than what you can buy for at the moment, people will always question that. In many ways, it is making these modules more accessible to people. Modular is an expensive hobby, and if you can, if you can't afford to buy the more expensive versions, then this is great, because it allows people to get into that. I have seen some criticism of the module around the sort of design of it and the aesthetics of it, and that it doesn't look particularly nice. And maybe that's where, I don't know, if you want a nicer looking module, maybe that's where you go and buy a more expensive version, perhaps. What I'm sort of how I'm feeling about it is not so much about the Behringer producing these cheap modules, but it's more to do with it just releasing an out and out clone. So although Tides is a really great module, I'm not sure when it was originally released. In fact, I'm going to look that up on my phone. Okay, so I've just looked that up, and the original Tides version 1 I think was released around 2014, and then the version 2, which this is a clone of, I think was released around 2018. So these are modules that have been around for quite some time. They're not new modules by any stretch. And as great as they are, it might have been nice to see Behringer actually, develop the module a little bit further, and maybe we could have seen something that would be the equivalent of a Tides version 3. I think that's the sort of thing that sort of kind of bothers me a little bit. Is it's just an out and out clone, and I know that's what Behringer do, but it would be really nice to actually see some of these modules being developed a little bit further, akin to Clouds, my version of Clouds, which is actually the jack plug Typhoon. It's got different firmware on there, I can't remember what the firmware's called now, but it's got lots of all the different firmwares on there. It's got extra features on there to the original version of Clouds. And I see that as it's not just a straight clone, it's actually taking the module and then doing something and improving it and making something better. And it would have been nice to see Behringer do that with this Tides module rather than just releasing a straight out clone. I think their version of Platts, I don't know if they added some extra modes into that weren't in the original. I'm sure the desktop version that they've just announced, which is called, what was it called? Was that the Grind? Can't remember. Did a video on that a couple of weeks ago. That I'm sure that had some extra features in that aren't in the original Platts, and maybe that was just because it's a desktop version. But yeah, I think it would be nice to see some of these clones starting to sort of develop a little bit further, and not just straight out and out clones of the original Mutable Instruments modules, which are now potentially, as great as they are actually quite old, and there is the potential there for improvements, I guess. I'm not sure what those improvements would be. It's not my job to do that, I suppose. I'm not a module developer. Having all these different clones out there isn't necessarily a bad thing, because it does kind of democratize the access to the modules, which it can only be a good thing. Otherwise, what we'd probably see is that since the originals are no longer available, the used prices would just go up and up and up and up and up. So having a lot of clones out there does keep those prices down. I just wonder if we couldn't maybe see some development there of some of these modules. I do own Tides version 2, and for quite some time I have been thinking it'd be nice to have another one. But I don't know whether I will buy this Behringer one or not. I suspect that I won't. I might try and find something slightly different that would be interesting instead. I do use that Tides quite a lot, and it has 4 outputs on it, and I will often use all 4 of those outputs. And yeah, it would be nice to have another one. I'm just not sure about buying this Behringer one. It is slightly bigger as well than the clone that I have, so there is this sort of space element to it as well. Anyway, that's my thoughts there on that. So yeah, it is great to have this Behringer module out there. It provides a nice affordable entry point for somebody wanting to get a version of Tides. But yeah, I just wonder if we couldn't maybe have a little bit of development, a little bit of innovation with some of these clones, and not just keep having the same clones released over and over again. I know that's not necessarily Behringer's thing, but hey, we can hope, can't we? Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have done, it's just a short one today, so yeah, please hit the like button, and of course if you want to see more of these, then hit subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Cheerio, bye bye.